Here's a great way to pimp up your Sunday roast chook. Instead of doing it with a gravy, I'm going to give it a little bit of a Chinese feel by serving it with an orange glaze. It is so delicious. So in a roasting tin, I've just put a little bit of baking paper and some kifla potatoes. So it's all in one baking dish and it cooks all together. I've brought my chicken out of the fridge an hour ago, at least an hour. If it's in the cooler months, you want to bring it out 2 hours. You want this chicken to cook evenly and stay juicy, so bringing it out is crucial. Before we add the chook, I'm going to add some spring onions. I love the flavour of spring onions because they're delicate and sweet as they cook in the roasting tin with all the chicken juices. So I'm just going to cut them in half, just trim those tops off. Don't waste it, all of it goes in, it's all good. And place that in and around our potatoes. To this, I'm going to add some shiitake mushrooms. So squeeze out the excess water. These are dried shiitake mushrooms. You can get it from all your supermarkets now. And I always like to keep them in the pantry for occasions like this. So you do need to rehydrate them in some warm water for at least 15 minutes. And then I'm just going to cut them in half. If you don't want this woody stalk, just take it out. I don't mind it as it roasts for a long time. It does soften. Into our dish. Now we can rest our gorgeous chook on top. Just nestle it in, just exposing some of those potatoes so they get some lovely colour. It's a big chook, so we need to add a generous amount of extra virgin olive oil, not only to the chicken but also the potatoes and our spring onions so they don't burn. So drizzle that over the top and a good pinch of salt to season everything. And I'm not going to add any pepper because I feel the pepper sometimes burns as the chicken roasts in the oven, so just the salt for now. I've also got some lapchung sausage. Now this is a Chinese sausage, it is delicious, but I don't want to add it to the roasting dish now. If I do that, it'll shrivel down and it'll burn, so we want to put this in the last 15 minutes of cooking. So chicken goes into the oven, 180 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how big it is. And like I said, last 15 minutes, I'll add some sliced lapchung sausage. All right, while the chicken is cooking, I'm going to make a delicious orange glaze to serve with it. In a pot over a medium heat, I'll add a good amount of honey, spoon that in, along with some soy sauce for the saltiness and some Shaoxing wine. So a good splash of that too. I'm only adding 1 star anise to this, and it doesn't look like much, but you will taste this throughout the dish. So we'll pop that in and let that infuse, and then it is all about that orange. So I want the zest of one orange and then the juice of it too. So we'll zest that directly into the pot. This will come up to the boil. I'm going to keep an eye on it. We want it to be a sticky glaze, and you can make this ahead of time and it can sit there. We just need to warm it up at the last minute before we start brushing it all over our cooked chicken. It's going to be so good. Smells divine in here. The roast chook, it's been resting along with the lapchung there and the mushrooms, just the perfect combination. Now after it's rested, and I've rested this for about 35 minutes, it's still piping hot. I'm going to place it onto a serving plate, and you can see in here everything's cooked down. The lapchung in the last 15 minutes has got some colour. This is a beautiful accompaniment with our chook. So I like to place this just next to our chicken, just for a different style of presentation. And then you take it to the table, carve it. Everyone can have their favourite part of the chicken. Me personally, I love the thigh and the leg. That brown meat there is just the best. Pile it all up. And even those caramelised spring onions, they've transformed and are so sweet. There's also those little char marks there on some of it, just perfect. Last little bit. And this is really good enough as is, but if you really want to heighten everything, make that glaze because there's only a few ingredients. And look how glossy it has become. Serve it on the side or drizzle it over everything, even the chicken, over the top. And that right there is a real show-stopping roast. Serve that on a Sunday or really any night of the week.